Welcome back to Inside Sources. Today, as we continue our conversation on the future of our great country, I have with me a leading Nigerian in the area of technology and digital space and policy, a social entrepreneur who is currently a member of the high-level panel of the United Nations Secretary General on Internet Governance. He's also the Executive Director of Paradigm Initiative. I'd like to welcome to Inside Sources for the first time, Mr. Gbenga Sesan. Gbenga, good to see you in Abuja and on Inside Sources.
Thank you for having me.
All right, excellent. Thank you for coming. So we normally start by asking this question that if you look at where we are today as a country, on the general, are we on course to a great Nigerian that many of us dream as the destiny of our country?
I'll say that we are and we are not. And that's a safe way to answer that. Okay. We are because, to be honest, we're not where we used to be. And I'll focus on the tech and digital economy for a second. If you remember the days of queuing for Nitel phones, we're far from that. Remember the days when payment services were a problem? We're far from that.
We didn't even have a payment service, actually.
I mean, which is. Remember the days when, you know, young Nigerians could not get technology opportunities. Now we've got unicorns. But why I say we are far from it is because when you look at all of these gains, none of them is because of policy. They are all in spite of policies that work against them. And that is, it means that the gain we've had, let's say it's 40%. If there could be a policy push behind it, it could push it by 40% and we'll get to 80%. So we've made a lot of progress, but it's because people have broken their own backs, at times swimming against the tide of negative or one step forward, 3 steps backward policies.
But you know, we're going to talk more about tech and digital stuff, you know, because that's your forte. But I want you to look at it from the point of view of why we are in that situation where the policy is not right. What do you think is responsible for that?
I think it's, elite consensus. The elite is very selfish in Nigeria. People focus on what they can get, and it's a very lazy way of thinking, because if you actually build for the worst in society, you will benefit more. You know, it's a joke I crack in my office that every time I'm able to convince the board to increase salaries, people say, oh, thank you, we're increasing salaries. But guess what? My salary has been increased.
Absolutely.
So it's enlightened self-interest. And I think the fundamental problem we have as a country is that our elite are selfish. They have opportunities when the roads are bad. They buy SUVs. When schools are bad, they send to private school. Instead of fixing the problem,
when they can't get the hospitals here, they go to...
You go during the summer to go and do your health check. You manage one in January here in Nigeria, and then you go and get second opinion during the summer because you can afford to. And that is, someone just shared a picture of Ikoyi. Beautiful building. And then the drainage beside it was full of pure water and all that. That is the story of Nigeria. The elite in that building are happy to get into their house. It smells nice. They don't care about what is outside. But guess what? If you don't fix, like someone was saying many years ago, that there was a time in Lagos when people's phones were being snatched in traffic. And someone was joking that, well, it is the young people we didn't train, that we didn't care about, that are now snatching our phones. But it wasn't a joke. It is reality. When the elite remain selfish, we will be scared and we'll always be looking at our back.
Interesting. Let's focus on your area, digital policy, inclusion and all of that. Now, so what kind of policy do you think ought to be in place to cause that transformative situation in that space that we believe is just begging to happen?
I started getting involved with policy in Nigeria in 2001 as a student when Professor Ajayi of blessed memory, somebody, by the way, that Nigeria should honor, but Nigeria has not. Professor Gabriel Ajayi, who was the pioneer DG of NITDA and the man who helped Nigeria write the national IT policy. I was a student, he was my lecturer. He's of blessed memory now, you know, and he invited me through Mr. Chris Waje to come and contribute to Mr. Akijola to come and contribute to IT policy. And I realized when I was reading these documents that, policy is not our problem at all. Because it was everything that is needed was there at the time. Of course, there were a few rupees because we copied a bit from India. But between then and now, there is no policy document. There is no strategy. There is no paper that Nigeria needs that we don't have. I did some work with the UN Economic Commission for Africa in the days of the African Information Society Initiative. I had a chance of serving as the vice chair of the African Technical Advisory Committee, and we were helping African countries write their NICI, that's National Information and Communication Infrastructure Policies.
Okay.
The people that wrote the policies for the other countries, Rwanda, Ghana, were Nigerians.
Oh, wow. I mean, look at what
And
done.
And I say Rwanda specifically because it was the same Professor Ajayi who then worked with Professor Dizono of Ghana, who then became an advisor to Kagame, who decided, this policy you have written, I'm going to convert it into action. That is where we have a problem. Every 4 years, there's a policy reversal. Who are you? Who do you think you're hurting? You're hurting the person there before. No, you're hurting yourself. Because if you build on what was there, you have a chance of getting some credit for legacy. But we have this policy somersault. At some point in Nigeria, we were arguing if we had an AI readiness index or not, because a former minister did one, a new minister wants to do his own. Those are the problems that we have. Those policy somersaults, those policy gaps, and the lack of political will. And this is what I've argued. Look at the tech space. People are flying.
Yeah.
Don't stand in their way. And I say to everybody, every regulator, if you can't help, get out of the way. When Nigeria suddenly announced we're going to ban crypto, I laughed. I laughed because at the time, forget the fact that some of the people who were even involved in the arguments were themselves investing in crypto companies personally. But guess what? We were missing the opportunity of understanding what this new thing is. And CBN said it was banned. Another agency said it was an asset class, a digital asset class, SEC.
SEC, yeah.
Who should we believe? These are the confusions that we get. But now that we've seen that we've been able to get unicorns, and some of the biggest employers in Nigeria are small companies that run tech services that hire 5 here, 10 here, 20 here, 40 here. And those companies can thrive better with existing policies. So I honestly don't think we need a new policy. Thankfully, we have sort of an omnibus bill that the current minister for the digital economy has put together on e-governance. It's not a perfect bill. I mean, we pushed back on certain excesses, but it brings a lot of things together. But my worry is that it is going to be another piece of paper. We argued in 2007 to create, we were like, if we create a Ministry of ICT, it will be perfect.
Yeah.
I was on that committee, which had its own drama, for a story for another day.
Always.
Always has drama. And eventually that ministry wasn't created because the Niger Delta ministry, was priority for obvious reasons, terrorism and all that, Niger Delta issues and all that. So in 2011, that was eventually created. But even when the ministry was created, and I say this, I've said this publicly, I've written about this, we stood in the way of that ministry itself doing its own work with somersault in policy. We had a broadband plan that private sector was willing to work with.
Yeah.
We were going to reach a target by 2018, and unfortunately, just simply, and this is not about federal government alone. This is more about subnationals.
Yeah.
The policy basically said right of way was a problem.
Yeah. And the states
People were charging 300 naira per kilometer.
Yeah.
How many kilometers do you want to charge for? People bringing internet into your own state. A state that is, to be honest, dead and broke, allow them. Now we have a few states, Kaduna, Lagos, and others who have said, okay, right of way, 0, or even, I think Kaduna was 1 naira, basically to say, let there be a commercial transaction. And that makes sense, because if the first person lays the fiber, others can lay, and you can make money from that. But don't, in the name of making money, stand in the way of of people being able to use the internet. I mean, we boast that Nigeria has a 90-something%, internet penetration because of mobile internet. But that's a lie, because what we're counting is SIM cards. The real penetration is a little below 50%, if we want to be honest with ourselves. And this is a challenge to regulators like NCC. Please tell us the true number, so that, because if you don't measure it well, you can't grow it properly.
But in any case, even you yourself said that the challenge is more of the subnationals, because this right of way issue that you raised, I was in government with the vice president for 8 years, and I will sit down at how he had to go, that's Oshiba, he had to make arduous explanations to state governments, you know,
governments.
that, look, you guys don't seem to get this thing.
Does anybody have
You
to
know,
beg?
because their whole take is that, look, these people have money.
Short-term money.
Let's take
Short-term
money. We are doing IGR. And it says, no, you got to think in a long-term way if you allow this to happen. So where are we? You know, you're on that.
So
where are we?
Right now, we have a resurgence of that policy, and I'm really glad to hear the current minister talk about. I mean, I criticize him a lot for obvious reasons, because it is important to put people on their toes to get work done.
Without,
But the reality is that the attention that has been paid to this as a national project is very helpful.
Yeah.
I like what has happened to many universities. Universities are now getting literally connected to the superhighway, which is what it should be. There's nobody that should be in a university and should be doing plug and play. You know how they say plug and play is what the word was, some plug and play. You type research.ai and then you have to go and eat lunch and come back before the thing
comes up. Yeah.
The world has left you behind.
Yeah.
I like that we're now focusing on this. But I think one of the policy gaps that we have is that we're giving the wrong signal to the world. When we measure number of people who are connected, and we inflate that number, what we're doing is a disservice to investment opportunities. And this is an argument I've made for a very long time. Nigeria used to have a tendency of over 100, which basically means everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
So why should an investor want to invest in a country that is saturated? But we're not saturated. And so we lost out. And neighboring countries got opportunities.
Yeah.
That's one.
I'd rather go to the other country.
That's one policy problem. The second policy problem is that it is easier for me today as a young person to register my company in Delaware, become a US company, claim to be African for branding, and make money. Because if I try the same thing in Nigeria, there'll be 27,001 agencies I need to deal with. And in theory, we have solved that problem. You know, PEBEC, and all of the work that was done, but it's not translating. Data is being managed by different pockets. There has been a presidential directive, there has been presidential initiative, but it just appears to me that we're not seeing the disconnected
what do you think is going on in your own view? I have a take.
In my own view, I think there's a bit of opportunism. There are people who benefit from the disconnected things. So, for example, one agency can claim, oh, I'm in charge of this, I made this happen.
Yeah.
And if they cooperate with others, they may not be able to claim all of the credit. So there's that. And there's outright corruption.
Yeah.
People who just want to make money. You apply for a passport. I mean, I went to renew my passport and I told them I did it online. And they were looking at me like, what did you do online? I said, I've done everything. I've paid. I've done everything. They said, who is your agent? I mentioned the minister's name. They said, how? I said, because he came on TV and said, go there and get your passport. And they were confused for a second. Well, of course, I insisted. I was able to capture that day. And the passport came out, a few days ago. But the confusion in the system was because of corruption.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to be paid 255,000 naira.
Yeah. Actually, that's my own take, that I wanted to get to. And I'm happy that, it's your second point also, because from my own experience in government, it's all these, what I call toll gates. So everybody imposes its own toll gate. And just like the subnationals thought that, look, these people want to do business. Well, we also want to raise internally generated revenue. We charge them money now. There are also people in regulatory agencies of government and all of that who have been making money with that inefficiency and their prosperity, their whole career prosperity is tied to it. And so at times the president will give a directive and then it doesn't percolate, it doesn't go down, and then there's no sufficient follow-up. And when you have to deal with systemic corruption, it will take a lot, and I think you mentioned it in your intro, a lot of political will. The leaders must insist and they must keep at it. They must be demanding questions.
And you must live by example. One of the toughest things a policymaker can do, one of the biggest problems you can have, is to say A and do B. Nobody is going to do A. You cannot say live modestly and you are buying a new private jet. Come on, what are you signaling? It's called signaling. You're not telling us to do what you do. You're saying, I'm above the law.
Yeah, but I want to
You
sort you
manage.
guys, guy. You know, you guys are the one in trouble.
You are the one in trouble. I'm just here to help you.
So let's talk about the federal government in the area of digital economy generally.
Yes.
How do you rate this chap has been there now for going to be 3 years?
Yes.
You know, I mean, I think the president, that's the Dr. Bosu, by the way.
Yes.
I think the president was very magnanimous, actually. We have to give the president
oh, yes,
we have
yes.
to give him credit because we knock him a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But his ability to be able to overlook some of those things, gives us a lot of hope that, okay, he's playing the father role very, very well.
Well, he's playing the long legacy political game. So it's also in light of self-interest.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it will take a bit of insult, but you're right.
Yeah, which is not a
there are
bad
people,
thing.
which is not bad.
Yeah. But the point is that, so how do you assess Dr. Bosun Tijani's
I'll give him a
work?
39.5% because 39 is fail. But that's also a joke. That's also a joke. I think, Dr. Tijani, I'm being careful not to call him Bosun, Of course he's Bosun.
It's Bosun,
right?
of course.
The expectation was through the roof.
Yeah.
Because of the things he said.
Yeah.
And because of the desperation. I take a very strong opinion to confirmation processes in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I don't believe that if I've said something in the past, I should apologize for it if I believe in it. Because the things I've said, if they are true, they remain true. And either you apologize or not, the president is playing a game of bringing you in to prove a point. He will bring you in anyway.
Yeah.
So I think there was that expectation that went through the roof. And unfortunately, the first thing that I believe is that when you work for a government that you owe and can fire you at will, you start at a disadvantage.
But I mean, Mr. Gbenga, the government will always be able to fire you if they appoint you, regardless. What do you think?
No, but don't forget that there is a certain posture that you take that makes you then look desperate and expensive.
Like, in terms of your moral authority, it is
when you lose that moral authority, then you become dispensable and you may not get as much progress as you should get. But what I like is the fact that there's been a lot of deliberate attempt to talk to industry. Now, you can never fault that. That is great.
Yeah.
What I like is there's been a deliberate attempt to think big. And that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What I don't like is a lack of building on what has happened before and connecting with existing processes.
I see.
All that drama of Pantami versus Bosun was unnecessary.
Yeah, but I'm sure you know, Sesan, that it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
But I agree with you.
But for someone who has been where he has been, he should have known a bit better. But that's not the topic. The topic is that there are so many things that we could do in terms of policy supporting innovation that we are doing. But there's so many other things that we should be doing in terms of making sure that the small gains are amplified that we're not doing. And I've given, one of the examples is there is no reason why right now Nigeria does not have a one-stop website. Because when he announced he was going to do that,
what do you mean by one-stop website?
A one-stop, Nigeria.gov.ng, for example.
Okay, where everything comes in.
Where everything
is government.
It's a portal, and you can go from here to there to get information. I mean, something as simple as the Twitter handle of Nigeria Gov, is now busy retweeting politics. That's a very, very low bar. I mean, this is definitely not the minister's job. So, but what I believe, an opportunity I believe that we're missing is that opportunity to be able to bring everything together. And when anyone wants to understand the story of tech success in Nigeria, they can even begin to see it from nigeria.gov.ng. And apart from that, some of the quick wins. We have a quick win in USPF. USPF is a slush fund that could easily, without political interference, solve majority of the problems of lack of connectivity. The Universal Services Provision Fund, the tax that the money we collect from telecom companies.
Yes.
That is one example. We've spent that money in a very funny way in the past. You buy computers here, you buy satellite dish and things like that, and different people will bring it together. But there is
It's procurement.
well, which is but I think in terms of thinking big, in terms of communication, we're doing well. What it would be great to see now is something like 3MTT being taken away. Please stop implementing. You're a policy maker. I think that is a problem. I mean, the minister himself is an implementer, so I think that spirit is still with him. He needs to let go of that spirit. Let 3MTT grow wings and let other people fly with it. There are many organizations that have trained 3 million since we started, making noise about it, but they are not making as much noise. So I think that is the one thing that we can do. And the second thing that we can do that can help with tech is let's admit that the success we had with telecom companies, with IT companies, with startups was in spite of policy somersault.
Yeah, like you said.
Let's literally apologize to them and then now ask, how do I support you
going forward?
Excellent.
Let's wrap up. Two national issues, one political. The first one, you have spoken a lot about data security and privacy. I think there was a time a couple months ago that you said, hey, even the data of the president is right there for sale.
Yep, 100 naira.
So, but I think that there's also a data protection commission that has been set up.
Yes.
How do you assess the successes of that? So that kind of scenario that you painted, is this still persistent as we speak?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're still in court. We lost, but we've gone back. It was a technicality, but we've gone back again.
Say we, who is
Paradigm Initiative.
Okay.
We went to court to force the hand of NIMC, the Identity Management Commission, Data Protection Commission, and everybody to basically say data is being stolen. Do something about it.
So you took the matter to court?
Oh, we took the matter to court. But there was a technicality.
Because they say
I'm very surprised that they used the technicality to defeat that.
Yeah.
But we're back in court.
What's the technicality? This is not justiciable.
So there were multiple cases. There were at least 3 or 4 cases. In one of those cases, the lawyers,
it's very bold of you to
the lawyers filed with Paradigm Initiative and not our full name.
Okay.
Which, to be honest, in law, it's not the same entity, so it was our fault. But we're back. And the reason we're now back again is because the latest leak was massive. President, Vice President, Chief of Army Staff, everybody. And then the person now added my own. And then sent it to me and said, well, I know you went to court. Your own data is available for sale.
But the thing is that, so that observation is in the interest of the nation. It's of national interest.
Absolutely.
How come they are even defending?
Because NIMC is burying their head in the sand and trying to look good. Instead of fixing the problem.
Yes.
This is not even a NIMC problem. This is a problem they probably inherited because of loopholes that comes from third-party connection.
So what is NIMC supposed to do, in your view?
NIMC is supposed to terminate every loophole first, review it, and most importantly, punish everyone who
Give us an example of the loophole. Make it alive for people.
NIMC has the database. NIMC then gives this database to third-party private sector organizations to process, to make money. No. Legally.
No, I mean, even before this current NIMC.
Absolutely. I mean, data is currency, so you must always use data. You give this to a third-party person. You give a license to this person to use this data legally, and then this person then decides to sell to somebody else. When this person sells, you know who it is. Punish them.
Go
there
after them.
Are people on the inside in NIMC who must benefit for this kind of thing to happen. Punish them.
Corruption is a big problem.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because that's what you see every time is corruption. Because I was wondering, if you came out and said
maybe it is stealing and not corruption.
you came out and said, they have stolen the president's information. They've stolen the vice president's stuff. It's right there being sold online. I don't expect government to fight back. They should say, oh, thank you. Look, not this head, not that head.
Name, mobile number, home address, passport photo, NIN slip.
So the matter is still in court?
Oh, the matter is in court. Not matter, matters.
Matters. And this is, which court is this? Federal High Court?
Federal, yes.
In Abuja or Lagos?
In Abuja.
Okay. Interesting. We'll follow through. The last question, that you should tell us, since you are in digital space, this question of electronic transmission of results.
I was hoping you would.
Yeah. No, I'm not going, you can't escape. Look, so let me, the way I see it, I thought when the Senate came back and said that, okay, we're going to do it, I thought that was victory for us, that, we knocked those head. But guys are telling me that, no, with this proviso that says that, if it fails, we go back, that's what they're going to use.
Yeah.
Now, so I want to ask you as an expert, in terms of the capacity to do this.
I was going to start from capacity.
Yes.
The capacity exists because you don't need to send. This is why they said there was offline mode. And I need us to understand this very simply. We experience it every day. You are on your phone, you send a WhatsApp message, it is rolling. It doesn't go immediately.
Yes.
And when next you have data, it goes.
Yes.
It's the same thing.
And you have
offline mode.
Click, yeah.
Scan the thing, send it. You say there's no connectivity there. When, by the way, there's no connectivity there is not true. In these same regions where we say there's no connectivity, the politicians live in those areas and they have internet access in their homes. There is no reason in the world why Nigeria has a satellite that cannot point in the direction of places that we say do not have internet access. I mean, even if you will pay for Starlink, and I'm not saying pay for Starlink, we say we have satellites in space, right?
Yeah.
And we've got USPF. The reason why nobody wants digital transmission is because rigging, you know this more than I do, happens between that collation at the polling unit and the collation center. That is what politicians want to protect.
Yeah.
The day somebody is bold enough, or the people take their power to say, we want that transmission fixed. Once that is fixed, the results you see at the polling unit, you can be sure that that is the real result. But that is why there is so much fight about it. But all this thing of saying, oh, we don't have the capacity, you don't need 5G, you don't need 4G, you don't need 3G.
Can you imagine?
In fact, data can be sent via SMS. It's called redundancy. They know these things.
Yeah,
it's simple engineering. It's called redundancy.
Even in 2022, NCC did say that, we have enough to fly the thing in. Even in 2022.
Absolutely, in 2022. And then in a few months after that, NCC changed mouth at some Senate, event, saying that actually we don't have the capacity because some places are 2G. And I'm like, come on. You can use, there's offline mode, there's text messages, there's mesh networks. And this is, all of these details they know. There's no need for me to say it. Mesh networks are local networks that you create in that region it can create a local area network for you, for that transmission to happen there, and that device then goes to the main grid. So it's badladash that anybody is saying in 2026 that Nigeria is not able to do transmission from the collation center. In fact, it should be the other way around. Digital should be back up as proof. When you show paper, the digital one is the one that we should check because we trust that one.
Right.
Did you not see all the results? Look at that reverse piece of paper.
Some of them almost mutilated.
Mutilated. Writing 1 becomes 111.
Yeah.
3 becomes 306 in a place where there were only 30 people. 30 becomes 39. When we are ready. And this, by the way, and I think politicians need to learn this lesson, this is why legitimacy remains a problem for politicians in Nigeria.
God bless you.
Because when the process is corrupted, how you win elections matter. If you win only less than 30% and then you have a new policy, people will say no even before you say anything because there's no legitimacy. If you really, and this is my advice to the current administration, you want to push bold reforms, right? Yeah. If you want to push bold reforms, do the hard things. Make it free and fair. If it's free and fair, then who knows, you may even win. Yeah. And when you win, you have the real legitimacy and you can take action. And some people, including me, who have said, oh, I don't like what you did, will probably say, man, considering what these guys did, maybe they mean well. And then I will check it a second time. Even if it's still wrong, I'll say to them, okay, try. Since you did the one for INEC, do this one too. And we all win. You become, maybe people want to be great. They want to be called like Awo and things like that. And do something that can make you great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Gbenga, for your contributions. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for what you are doing, even in Paradigm Initiative. And thank you for coming to Inside Sources.
Thank you so much
All right.
for what you do at, with Inside Sources and for having me. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.